Hello, how's everyone doing today? Devonte Dillon, CEO, co-founder of Diligence Training.
Terrell Huff, co-founder, Diligence Training.
Carly Slossberg, health professional, lead trainer at Diligence Training.
So welcome to Win Your 24 podcast. Today we have a special guest, one of our amazing team members, Carly.
Low C's.
So here today we're going to be talking about emotional intelligence. We'll have some subtopics, talking about mental fortitude, talking about empowerment, and then other amenities. Terrell will also elaborate on that.
So I'll say let's get right into it. I'll say the three things I really want us to focus on is just the anxiety. I feel like anxiety is going to be the tree, and then there's going to be branches off of that, with just mental fortitude, just seeing how you respond. From the anxiety is just going to be, what stems off of that. And then from there, just really just sharing recaps of how you deal with that, whether that was good or bad, and how that shaped you to what you got going on professionally or just personally. So we'll start off with you, Carly.
All right. So first things first, I want to say anxiety is uncertainty, right? So anxiety is fear.
That's a bar. Run that back.
Anxiety is uncertainty, right? And that comes with fear, but we need to understand that fear is a lie. The fear that we feel is not real. And I think what comes into that is just understanding that, we really have to be mindful of the things that, we're doing for us. And I feel like anxiety comes down to two different things. For me, especially, I feel like over these last 5 years, I really understood how to deal with my anxiety. And I feel like there's levels to it, but I feel like there's two things that you can really break it down to. Like, are you managing it? Or are you soothing it? And when I talk about those two...
Slow down. So break that down one more time.
All right, so I feel like there's two different parts to anxiety, even though there's levels to it, because I never want to undermine people who deal with anxiety at high levels. But from my understanding, I feel as though it goes into two categories. Are you soothing it, which is like a temporary fix, a backup plan, or are you managing it? Are you holding yourself accountable as far as what can you control to actually manage those stressors, right?
So how do you deal with that?
So how I deal with that, I would say, lately been focusing on my spirituality, connecting, being faithful, really taking into consideration my self-care, what does that look like every day? What am I doing to really manage those stressors over time? Because I feel I can sit there and eat something. And coming from a weight loss journey, I'm self-aware of that. I used to emotionally eat. Now it's am I reading? Am I doing my daily devotion? Am I working out? Even though I realized too, over this 5 years, especially over this last year, you can't just work out. You need to lean on other people to support. And I feel that's a lot of the time the problem too, is a lot of us feel we're dealing with these things and no one else is going through them. But I feel it comes down to being compassionate, having connection, having the courage to speak out on things, because you never know who else is dealing with that too. So I feel that just coincides with your self-care journey. What are you doing to really, get to that next level? Don't let the anxiety trap you. Really using it to move through it.
That's powerful. Now, one of the things that you really touched upon was just anxiety and how you essentially break that down, decompress from it. Devonte, I know that as far as we talk about vulnerability, we've had some transitions in our life. Can you discuss how anxiety has played a role in your life and how you've overcame it?
So I would say when it comes to anxiety, that's an ongoing battle. And what I mean by that is some days it'll be less than others, but it's just about how you're managing it. And just similar to what Carly said, that's what anything in life. So it's just what habits are you cultivating that's going to allow you to sustain what's happening? Because it's inevitable to say that you won't have anxiety. We all have things that we're pursuing that, takes us out of our comfort zone and make us feel if I do this, what will happen, or the what ifs. But it's just the process of finding the parts in your journey that, let's say, trigger you. So just that way that if you're going to come across something like that, you're going to make sure that you're doing what's necessary to limit it. Again, just going back to management. So I'll say for me, anxiety is something where it's I make sure I start my mornings off on the right foot, pouring into myself and just making sure that I'm focusing on breathing. Mm-hmm. I think that's something that a lot of people overlook. It's just solitude and just controlling your breathing and just going at an easy pace. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are probably tuning in who probably just wake up and just get going. They don't even give themselves a second to breathe before they just grab their phone or just attend to their kids. I get it, we all have different responsibilities, but taking a second or a minute to just take a deep breath and just like really just express what you're grateful for, that could change the whole trajectory of your day.
Can I just, before you go, can I just feed off of that for 1 second? There's one thing I did want to say about just anxiety and discomfort, because like I said, anxiety is uncertainty, but I feel like if we learn early on that discomfort is growth, like we can learn to lean into that versus resisting it, because I feel like that's something that we really need to learn. Like if we aren't learning at home, I feel like that's something that is huge that I feel like is not a foundation in our school systems. It's like we're constantly trying to learn new things, but then it's the fear of messing up, it's the fear of perfectionism, which is, you know, dangerous. And I feel like, as you were saying, it's like waking up and getting those wins in early, and I'm learning that as now as a parent and just as a leader too, like being here within this community and showing up every day. Like I can fake it till I make it, but I'm not showing up and giving my best self every day if I'm not doing those things. So to piggyback off of a book I just read, The High Five Habit, it was like, how can you get like wins before your day even starts, like your to-do list? So it's like waking up, it was like 5 things. Waking up, don't snooze your alarm for 2 reasons. Don't snooze on yourself. And 2, when you snooze your alarm, you go back into a REM sleep and it takes like a long time to get back into that, so you're almost making yourself more tired. 3, put your hand over your heart and just thank God that you're alive. Like I'm safe, I'm loved, I'm well. Then you get up, make your bed. So what's that? 4 wins right there. Go in the bathroom, look yourself in the mirror, high five yourself, and say something actionable. Don't just say I am powerful. Say like how you're going to be powerful. And that's 6 wins of the day right there. So
You're
it's just
a rapper. like what's your name? It's Can't Stop Car.
Can't Stop Car.
Drop your @ handle
Big
right here,
bars.
letting people know. Big bar, Can't Stop Car, Lil C's is what she drops it with. Now you're going crazy right now.
So honestly, and reading has really like changed my perspective, and it's so crazy. It's like because we get so caught up in, like you said, looking at our phone. Like it's, you don't even realize how habitual. Once I started, I'm on book 8 right now, and I started this challenge in May, and my goal was 10 books by May of next year, and I'm already at 8. I'm not gonna, you know, try to make it seem like I'm gonna get to 10 before then, but that's the goal. But with that being said, I feel like I've noticed my screen time is down, my anxiety is down. I'm like present. I'm like using what I'm reading to really apply it moving forward, and yeah. Those are just the things that you have to do to really like set those boundaries with other people too, because you got to put yourself first.
I like it. So I would say really just to reiterate off of what you two are saying, just to give people tuning in something to, you know, kind of put back full circle, is just really having a perspective change. When you can shift your perspective, it's not like you're losing, you're always winning. Because when a situation happens, it's not what happened to you, it's how could I respond and, you know, grow from this through that adversity. And then really shifting your perspective to not feeling something so much emotionally, which is, you know, a feeling of the anxiety, but what can I do to adapt from that? And I would say the biggest thing with that's helped me out personally is just having that emotional intelligence. I got that emotional intelligence really just speaking alongside with Devonte, and just, you know, for me it's just always on the go. The next thing's coming, and it just allowed me to grow anxiety. I didn't even know what anxiety was for me to even believe it. I felt like as a man, I was just taught I was supposed to just keep going, and, you know, I'm not supposed to really feel anything. And that started to become overwhelming. That started to become overbearing. And I started to really, as we always say, sink or swim. I was starting to sink. It wasn't something where the community could feel, but it was me sacrificing myself for the greater good of others. And now I'm really starting to understand that you really just have to take time to debrief, decompress, and just really sit out and think out what it is that you want and what it is you're gonna do. Again, that's something that I picked up from Devonte, is just, I'm always gonna be able to figure it out, but it's so much better when I could get some clarity with some structure. So again, me just allowing to have a routine the night before of, okay, I'm literally gonna wake up at 5:30, I'm gonna do this at 6:30, at 7:30 I'm gonna do this. It sounded funny when Devonte asked me to do it, and I'm just like, bro, I'm not doing it. Like, that works for you, I hear you, I'm good.
Change is uncomfortable, right?
It was uncomfortable, but it took me slowing down to go fast to really understand what he was trying to get me to do. And what I see now is just a routine. We grew up as athletes always having structure, always going from waking up, going to school, getting out of school, having practice, getting out of practice, watching film, studying, still having to be a person, interacting with other people. To when you're on your own as adults, we're all just big kids really trying to figure it out.
Right.
We're all faking the funk. We're all wearing the mask. So now it's like, what are you gonna do when there's nothing to do?
Take that armor off.
Exactly. So it's just now, with me slowing down, I'm able to get more quality instead of quantity, and I'm able to now have my peace, and like that's where the anxiety is now, starting to step away, and that's what I want people to just understand is like, just understand that there's layers, and you just have to peel back one layer at a time, and just understand that it's a process. Just be gentle with yourself. So how are you guys feeling with overall tackling anxiety, but seeing how emotional intelligence can play a big part in everything?
So I would say before I answer that, I also, for those watching, want to make them aware that you are a mother. So I think you have a very dynamic approach when it's like you have to do the internal work just that way that you can be, present for your kids. Mm-hmm. So it's like they're out in the world, but not to say that, the school system and other influences aren't conditioning them, but it's like knowing that could be a possibility. Like, how do you approach that being a mother of two boys?
So it's crazy you just said that, because the chapter in the last book I just read highlighted it, like the workplace and just how we model behaviors to our kids, because we can tell our kids who they should be or what they should be doing, but ultimately they're going to model who we show them we are, right? So I feel like sometimes I have a lot of mom guilt, or just, for those who don't know, like this will be 5 years since my big transition of my separation, and just like really picking up the piece of my life where I thought like my life was like in shambles, and like it's really brought me so far in such a short period of time. It's crazy to reflect back on. It's 5 years this month, but with that being said, I had a lot of mom guilt. Like, they were so young, like now they're almost 6 and 8, and I'm like, they were 2 and 1 and 2. And I'm like looking back like, oh my God, like I was going through this huge transition, and did I put any traumas on them? Like, what did I put onto them? And reading that chapter really just brought it full circle. It's like, we think our lives are over when our kids come into the world, but really our lives are just beginning. Like, that's the trajectory of our life. And I'm like, if things were different, not that I'm saying I regret my kids, but what if they did things differently? But now I'm looking back like, they're a part of my plan, they're a part of my journey. Would I be where I am today without them? Would I have this drive, this ambition, this wake up and figure it out and get it done and pour into me? Would I have that? And with that being said, it took me a moment to reflect and be like, I'm doing a, damn good job as a mom. Like, I show up every day, like I push through every day. Like, yes, I am on edge sometimes, impatient, not as present as I want to be, but I'm self-aware, and I feel like that's key. Like, I'm not waking up and going through the motions. Like, as you were saying, a routine is huge. Like, I know when my mornings are hectic. Why? Because I didn't prepare myself the night before, and a good day starts with a great night, right? So I feel like it's just going into those things, but also giving myself grace, as Terrell always reminds me to, because some days I am so tired where it's like the preparation is going to look different, like the day is going to look different. And as a parent, as business owners, you can relate to this. You're pivoting every day. As a parent, you're pivoting every day. So I feel like it just goes with knowing like not every day is going to be 100%. Give it your 100%. It might not always look the same though. So.
She's a rapper part-time. She said, a great day starts with a great night. At Can't Stop Car, Lil C's, Big C. DT Women's Empowerment. We got some merch to drop for you. We got some words, some phrases that we got to get done. It's crazy. Grab some water.
I need some water.
One thing that I want to ask you, so you put up a post yesterday. He put up a post, I don't know where he was, Cali. I don't know where he was.
He's on the map. He's all over the world.
Not questioning. But
location's crazy.
Worldwide.
One of the tweets that I seen from one of our brand ambassadors, Dex, was about like being present and like be where your feet are. So how do you remain present while you still are so ambitious about like the goals and aspirations that you have? Like, how do you deal with that, battle? Yeah,
I would say, again, I'm really big on like having phrases in certain seasons. And like right now my phrase is just going slowing down to go fast. Mm-hmm. So I would say it's really just finding peace in the midst of chaos. Right. So there's so much motion, but what are you gonna do to actually make it go through? Meaning like you can have a lot of movement, but that doesn't mean you're actually doing anything. So like for me, it's just slowing down, dotting my I's, crossing my T's. It's starting little, as you said, knowing I'm gonna win my day because I won the night before. It's meal prepping instead of me just on the go grabbing fast food. It's making sure that I stretch after I do a workout. It's not just going home and posting content, putting 15 minutes aside to post that content. It's, all right, before I go to bed, I'm gonna actually reach out to a loved one, a friend that I haven't spoke to in a long time. It's me slowing down, getting back to the basics. That's gonna allow me to still feel human, to still be present in the moment, so that way I don't lose who I am as I grow. Because I feel like you can make it, but at what cost? And my biggest thing is just stay down as you come up, and when you come up, stay down. So it's like I'm not gonna lose myself as I start coming up, because I see the beauty in the struggle.
Well, and to piggyback off that, because I think we talk about it often too, it's like being present. Like we prayed for moments like this, you know, like it might be chaotic, but it's like looking back, it's like when I say 5 years ago, like I could never imagine me being here, but like I always aspired, seeing other people like working out, doing this, and now I'm doing those things. And I think you guys can attest to that too. As business owners, like you starting at the track, you being at, you know, another facility, and like now being here, it's like taking those moments, like you said, to at the end of the night, reach out to a loved one, just having those moments of gratitude, because that's really where the joy comes, right?
No, that's hear that. I'm not gonna lie.
That's real.
We're literally walking in some of our craziest prayers right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like it's definitely moments where even coming into the gym and I'm coming from
Just
Windsor High
around,
School,
right?
And I'm looking at 7 polos on, and I'm like, whoa, what is going on?
Or like when the gym's packed, or like what, last fall when it was like group, we had PT going on, then we had group starting, but then you had the football team here, and we were just all moving and like figuring it out, and we probably had 4 benches, now we got 10.
Exactly. So I would say that's it for me. It's just like, you can ask Devonte, I do slow us down and be like, yo, we doing it. Like, and it's crazy.
It's hard, like you said, every day you have a to-do list, like you're tackling things, but it's like just taking a moment and being like, whether before you even work out, just being like, wow, like look at what's right here in front of us, right?
Yeah, I was definitely say, just to end on that note, is just like a lot of times, especially for those listening who are business owners, entrepreneurs, or just looking to start something, a lot of times people just try to grow and say, what more can I do? What more can I get? I promise you, everything you need is really within.
And right in front of you.
Just get 100% out of that resource instead of 10%, and now you try to go get 100% out of everything that you have, and you'll understand that you have everything you need in abundance.
That's powerful. So I would say, as we wrap this up, really, Carly, giving you the floor, main takeaways that you want people that are listening to take away from today.
So I want to talk about kind of like backpedal a little bit to mental fortitude, and just go with saying that resiliency comes from persevering in the face of adversity. And I think, that things become heavy when we continue to carry the same load over and over. But I think ultimately what's helped me is knowing that, sorry, I'm going to get emotional for a second, so let me take a deep breath.
DT Women's Empowerment, Can't Stop Car, Low C, Big C, floor is yours.
So I think it's just understanding too is that, we have to understand that it's taken me to embrace change, to truly just loosen up my sense of self and identity, and knowing that it's okay for me to create a new path. And with that being said, I don't think that erases or ignores the past. I think it just allows us to wholeheartedly live in the present while moving forward.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, that is episode 2 on Wing It 24 podcast.
You got any last words for them, Devonte?
I have no last words.
No last
the floor
words.
is Carly. You ended us well. We'll see you next week.
All right.